Pisces, magnanimity leading to love. Hello everyone, welcome again to this month's virtue practice. And what a practice to end on, particularly when we're considering this will activity. Here we are, we're going to take what we would have brought. We could think about any of the virtues that we've worked with so far and consider how do we make that more. In one way, magnanimity, generosity, or can be also seen as charity, allows us to not diminish the other's deed or what the other brings, but to see it in the best possible way. And through that generosity in our own soul, we grow the most positive in what we perceive in the other. This can be an incredibly potent virtue to practice when you're riddled with that common tendency towards judgmental nature, the way of which we diminish the other or judge the other, criticize the other. And when we think of this diminishing, judging, criticizing energy, it's actually quite hard to unravel it when we look directly at it, because in a way we start to criticize and judge and diminish ourselves for being that way. And so the force itself continues itself. But here we're given a virtue that in a way is its medicine or its antidote, rather than to look at the tendency to judgmental tendencies, the tendency to criticism and diminishing of the other. We grow through this magnanimity, through this charity and generosity, we grow what they bring into the most positive light. And that way we are transforming something in our soul, not by directing our attention towards it, but by developing the capacity that in the process will bring it through transformation. And this is something we're working with in the Easter mysteries as we enter towards this time of the spiritual year. We're really working with this transformative force that generosity and love are so deeply bound to. So when we're looking at this will exercise, the will exercise that we're going to work with for this month, we can take any of the exercises that we've done so far, any of the virtue practices, and see if we could expand, be more generous with what we would do to take it a step further. And the practice of that could be really the icing on the cake of this wonderful 24 gems or carat gold, this pure gold that lives in this virtue practice. It could really help us to see that whatever we've been doing so far with this virtue, we could take it a little further. And that generosity really helps us to understand the place of which magnanimity and love have in the cycle of the whole spiritual year. Because underlying that, we are increasing the good. We are growing love. We're developing capacities. And we've deepened our work through that, through the whole course of the year. And now we want to see if we can expand upon it. Take it one step further, be even more generous in that practice, and really put the joy of what that is into our giving, into our deeds of virtue. And this really does lead us into the Easter practice. In one way, Easter really allows us to grow and transform something it's part of the inner development path to develop capacities. We're not just purifying and clearing the slate of the soul so that we are not conditioned by erroneous thoughts and feelings or experiences. We're not only working on a purification process, we're also working on a self-development and developing the soul and understanding how that works in the transformation where change and transformation are needed is really part of the Easter mystery. We don't only live with what we're given, what we're born with. It's not only what we can bring into being, but also what we can transform, what we can take further, what we can grow. And that's really now archetyped towards the end of this virtue practice. So everyone is invited to join us for the Easter Mysteries. We'll put a link below. But really, we're also at the end of a cycle of practicing the virtues, the second year through the will. And that will lead us to beginning in the next cycle the practice of how we give these virtues through our own being, through this practice of the virtues through feeling, through the feeling experience realm. Now, we can't really separate the thoughts, the will and the feeling so distinctly when we practice a virtue because they are kind of echoes within each other. But in the way of which we've applied them, we're working archetypally with developing capacity. And this third step in that, in the coming year, will be incredibly beneficial for understanding deeply this transformative process from who you were when you started the practice to what is now available. And this really is quite deeply bound to the esoteric mysteries that we consistently face. You know, when two people stand under the majestic night sky, they are impressed upon in different ways according to the capacity that already exists within them. So if we wanted that majestic night sky to impress upon us more deeply, then we would be clear that if I develop the capacity for that, then my relationship to that mystery would deepen. And that's this really archetypal reason why we develop ourselves, so that this mystery of life can deepen on how it speaks heart inwardly to us and how it impresses upon us. And it is those impressions that bring about change of our soul, bring about growth and development. Now we can recognize that through our earthly life to the sensory world. Various impressions and experiences have cultivated and developed something in us. But we also recognize that we have come into contact with certain thoughts or realities that they may not have changed us because we weren't available in our inner being for them to make the impression that would bring about change. So in the third year, when we work with this feeling aspect, and of course you can come into this at any stage, you don't have to go through each year, but just for those of you that have been following it in the sequence, we'll really see how what we have cultivated now can become a offering to the world through the feeling virtue in a very different way than what it was before we cultivated that capacity. So I'm looking forward to you all joining in that as well. And this month, working with this last extraordinary, potent magnanimity leading to love. And once we've done that practice and we've expanded what we want to give, we of course follow the stream of the will. And we allow that stream to come down the head and into the heart. Thank you, everyone.
In what is lost, may the loss find itself. In what is gained, may the gain lose itself. In what is comprehended, may the comprehending seek itself and sustain itself by sustaining, through becoming uplifted to existence, through existing interwoven with becoming. May the loss be gain in itself. And allow the streaming to move down from above the head, down the face and streaming into the heart.
Pisces. Hello. We arrive this month in Pisces and we have reached the 12th zodiac sign, which means we've really completed the formative force of the body now. So we've gone through all the body parts from the head and now we arrive at the feet. So in this gesture with Pisces, you see one side of the body is raised. So my right foot is raised, my right arm is raised, and then on the left side, my foot is placed firmly on the earth and my left hand is pointing to where the foot was on the right foot. So we have these two directions. So we could say we have the forces of above and the forces of below coming into a balance. So if you know the picture of the fishes, you'll know that you have one fish going in one direction, one fish going in the other direction. So this is these two forces now that are working with the forces from above and the forces from below. So we come to our magnanimity, which is this generosity to be able to give something of yourself to help and support the becoming of another. And this magnanimity will lead us towards love. So let's have a little practice of our gesture. So firstly, it is the right leg being lifted. Now you can have your toe touching the floor if you wish, if you need that for your balance, or you can raise it a little bit more, pointing towards the earth. That's the right foot. The right arm is raised, pointing upwards. So it's this stream, this upward stream. And now on the left side, the left foot is upon the earth and the left hand is pointing towards where the right foot was. And it's almost this lemniscate form around here, which then of course touches the heart as it goes through. So shall we try that in one movement? So it will be the left hand and the left side with the forces for below, and the right arm and the right foot with the forces for above. And they have this beautiful meeting together. So Pisces, and release. We'll do it 5 times and have a little tiny pause in between. So starting from now. That's our Pisces gesture, our Eurythmy Zodiac gesture for this month. And of course we will do the ERO that we've practiced for every month before, for all the 11 months that we've worked through this cycle. And then we will do the gesture 3 times of Pisces, and then we will do the streaming. If you remember the streaming through the top of the head and down through past the larynx and arriving at the heart. And there you will find this sacred space where we can contemplate and we can put the will forces in of the verse that you may have spoken as well, and the thoughts that Lisa will have brought to us in the beginning. So that's our practice for this month, but this is our final one for this series of starting in 2024. And what I would like to offer as well, for those of you that have actually been able to carry this through these months and have worked with your will, putting into these beautiful Eurythmy Zodiac gestures, I would like to offer that we could also practice going through the whole sequence of gestures, starting from Aries all the way around to Pisces and back to Aries again. So some of you will have managed to embrace the colours into your movements. And so what I suggest now is that we just have a little practice together, and yes, you might follow me, but as you know, I like you to know it yourself so that you bring your whole feeling life, your whole will, your wonderful connection to the cosmos as well to this. So when we complete this circle, we will have this stronger connection, this bridge that we've been trying to make, or that we have made, to the spiritual world, to allow these health-giving forces from the zodiac to come towards our body. So let's try this from Aries. And I won't speak them, I would just like them to move from one to another, but you'll see how we go. So you might like to, if you wish, carry the Pisces through this month, and sometime during your day practice the 12 Zodiac Gestures together, just as I have just done now, but do it at least 3 times. So we've just done it once now, but please do it at least 3 times so that it really, you'll start to feel it settle more and more in yourself and in the space. So thank you for visiting and being a part of these 12 months, and know that there will be another series starting that Lisa may have already spoken about in the introduction that will bring in the feeling. So the first year we had the thoughts, the thinking. This year and this cycle we had the will, and the one that's coming will be the feelings. So let's start our practice now with the ERO and into the Zodiac Gesture of Pisces 3 times. And then if you can just stand and picture this streaming that's going down through you and into the heart.